I traveled through the dim forest along the edge of the lake until I arrived at an elegant mansion that looked utterly out of place. This was the house where Snow White lived. If I hadn't met Snow White's mother entirely by chance, I wouldn't be standing here right now. But the question remained, would Snow White agree to speak with me? I took a deep breath and then... Hello? I knocked on the door. After a moment, I heard sounds coming from inside.
Coming! Who is it?
It's me again! Eureka Arisu, the girl you...
Arisu!
The door suddenly whipped open.
You came to visit! Thank you so much!
Whoa! As soon as she laid eyes on me, Mother pulled me into a hug. Well, at least she's happy to see me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just so happy to see you.
It's okay.
Now don't be shy. Come on in.
Without further ado, she invited me into her house almost like I was an old friend. This was no time for me to get cold feet. Thank you. So I took my shoes off and walked right in. Don't eat anything she makes for you this time. She led me down the entrance hall to the spacious living room.
You wait right here and I'll make some...
Actually, I cut in abruptly. As she tilted her head at me in confusion, I pulled a dessert box from my bag. Smiling, I held it out to her. This is to thank you for the other day. I hope you like it. I had bought it from a fancy bakery Gretel recommended to me. Ideally, I would have liked to make her something myself, but after Snow White torpedoed my self-confidence, I didn't want to risk it.
Goodness, you didn't have to. Oh, I recognize this bakery. I love the wonderful desserts they make. Thank you.
And thank you, Gretel. I'm glad you like it, I replied modestly to hide my inner glee.
Well then, we can eat these together. Just a moment.
Need any help with anything?
No need. You just sit tight.
Carrying my gift, she disappeared into the kitchen. Phew. Once she was gone, I let out the breath I was holding. Only a few minutes had passed since I arrived, yet I was already exhausted. This woman seemed to have some hidden depths to her, but personally, I liked her quite a bit. I appreciated her frank, straightforward attitude. But at the same time, she was the mother of my crush. So obviously, I couldn't help but feel nervous. Not only that, but said crush was currently ghosting me, and probably on purpose too. As I waited for Mother to return, I continually scanned the room. On the south side of the living room was a cozy little sunroom, and to the north was the dining area. If I had to guess, the kitchen was in the next room over. Everything about it screamed, "Rich people house!" Come to think of it, despite the size of this mansion, I had yet to encounter anyone outside of Snow White and his mother.
Sorry for the wait.
Oh, no, don't be. When Mother returned, I straightened my posture and donned a polite smile. I had a lot on my mind at the moment, but for now the most pressing issue was Snow White himself. I needed to find the right timing to bring him up so I could go see him. Say,
That reminds me, how was the apple pie?
Just then she changed the subject. Oh, it was great, I answered with a smile.
Was it? Oh, I'm so glad. I'll make you another one any time you like, so just say the word.
Will do, thanks. Judging from her behavior, she really didn't seem to have pulled a prank on purpose. Was it just an accident? As I sipped my tea, I observed her carefully. She cheerfully munched on one of the sandwich cookies I had brought from the bakery. How is it?
Oh, it's marvelous.
She didn't appear to be lying. In other words, her taste buds were clearly functional. After another sip of tea, I took a breath and... About Snow White.
Oh, that reminds me.
Once again, Mother interrupted. What is it?
Guess what? I bought some clothes for you, Arisu.
What? My facade slipped. And as for what happened after that, well... How do I look? Mother led me to her bedroom where she made me try on clothes for more than an hour. Currently I was wearing a strapless mini dress and a flower crown. Interesting combination. The skirt was poofy and layered, almost like a tutu. Very kawaii.
Eee! So cute! You're like a little fairy!
Meanwhile, Mother was over the moon. Mother...
Next, let's do this one!
With a big smile, she handed me another frilly dress. Okay. Defeated, I nodded meekly. Not that I didn't appreciate her calling me cute, but when she said it over and over, it started to lose all meaning. As I changed into the next outfit, I glanced around. Green curtains hung against the ebony window frame. Sunlight streamed in through the glass, illuminating the room. The interior featured a four-poster bed and a plain wooden table. A large mirror hung on the bright white wall. The room was luxuriously furnished, not to a tacky extent, but elegant and carefully balanced. Mother rifled through the closet looking for my next outfit. How many more was she planning to subject me to? The bed was covered in my previous outfits. Cutesy frills and ribbons, pretty flower corsages, delicate lace, sparkly beads and jewelry. It was everything a girl could ever dream of. How do I look? Once I had finished changing, I called out to Mother, who glanced back with a smile.
You're so cute! But it feels like something's missing.
This time her reaction was slightly different. She walked up to me and looked me up and down.
Oh, I know!
Then she walked to the desk, opened a drawer, and took out a small box. Inside was a hair ornament in the shape of a butterfly. She took it out and affixed it to my head.
There! Now we'd better make your hairstyle match, don't you think?
Yes, please. I nodded and sat down in the chair. As I straightened my posture, Mother walked up behind me. Having fun, are we? I kept my tone bright so it wouldn't sound sarcastic.
Oh yes, lots of fun.
Slowly, she began to brush my hair.
I'm sorry for subjecting you to my silly whims. Thank you for humoring me.
Oh, it's no problem. I'm having fun trying on all these different dresses.
Really? You're not sick of playing dress-up with some old lady?
No old ladies detected.
Well, thank you. Your hair certainly has a lot of volume, doesn't it?
Tell me about it. It's so thick and hard to manage.
Trust me, it's better than the alternative. At least thick hair gives you options when it comes to styles. Ponytail, half pony, side pony, fishtail braids, French braids, pigtails, buns. Oh, it's so lovely to be a girl. And you, my dear, are the loveliest of all. That light, fluffy hair, those sparkling gemstone eyes. Why, you're like a princess from a picture book.
Aw, thank you. This warmed my heart. Truth be told, she was every bit as strange as her son, but I still really liked her.
When I was a girl, I had a dream. You see, my family ran an inn, so I wasn't always allowed to do the things I wanted to do. My parents were very strict and traditional. While my peers were allowed to play house with their dolls, I attended lessons. The only hobby they allowed me to have was reading, probably because it was educational, I suppose. And when I was little, oh, I loved to read. One thing in particular was my absolute favorite. Can you guess?
Fairy tales?
That's right! My favorite fairy tales were the ones that had a princess. Stories of girls who overcame adversity in pursuit of true happiness. Those princesses taught me that I was allowed to dream. That for every girl whose life was dull and drab, a world of magic was waiting just around the corner.
That's wonderful.
Isn't it? And so I started to want more out of life. I wanted a handsome prince to come and rescue me. The years passed, and after I grew up, I met a man. He was a prince from a faraway land, with radiant hair and sparkling eyes. For him I gave up everything. My family, my friends, everything that chained me down. But in return he made my dreams come true. Banquets and balls, beautiful dresses, and a house as big as a castle. I was happy, and I was so sure it would last forever. But it was all just a dream. In the end, I wasn't a princess. Anyway, sorry to be such a downer.
No.
There, all done. What do you think?
She handed me a mirror. There I saw she had tied my hair up in elegant braids. Paired with the butterfly hair ornament, it was a very girly style. I'm so cute! Normally I wouldn't brag about myself like this, but she really left me no choice.
Aren't you?
She giggled, delighted. I giggled too.
Now then, we've tried our hand at girly, so maybe it's time to try a more chaste style.
That sounds great. Let's do it. Bring it on. At this point, my only option was to stick it out until Mother got tired. But first, come to think of it, what's your son up to today? I hit her with an impromptu question and no lead-up whatsoever.
Snow White? Well, he's in his room, I'm afraid. I did let him know you were here, but he wouldn't come out. I guess he's too shy.
Gotcha. Clearly he was, in fact, avoiding me. You're assuming she did actually tell him you were here.
Did you need him for something?
For a moment, I debated telling her the truth. No, that's okay. But then I decided against it. If he didn't want to see me, then there was no point in trying to force it. For now, anyway. I will bide my time. After that, I tried on 5 or 6 more dresses before we finally decided to call it a night.
If you liked any of the dresses, you can go ahead and take them home with you.
No, I couldn't possibly. I shook my head vigorously. I always thought Cinderella was the only person crazy enough to give such lavish gifts. Well, outside of an oil baron or something, but evidently I was wrong.
There's no need to be shy, you know.
Disappointed, she frowned. I swear, it's like rich people live on a different planet.
Oh, then how about the hair ornament?
Oh, right. It wasn't until she pointed it out that I realized I was still wearing it, even after I changed back into my normal clothes. After all, I'd left my hair as is. Would that be okay with you?
Of course! I'm sure it would be much happier on your head instead of being cooped up in that box. Besides, it doesn't look good on me anymore.
Phew. In the end, I never got the chance to speak with Snow White. Instead, I enjoyed a night of dress-up with his mother. The end. Out of nowhere, my head started to ache. I pressed a hand to my temple. Maybe it's all the stress. I don't know about that. That's ominous. I'm home.
Welcome back, Pulpit. How'd it go? Did you speak with Snow White?
As soon as I arrived at the cafe, I suddenly collapsed on the spot. Oh, it's the hairpin! Oh no, it's poison! Get it out of your head, quick! What story was that from? Was that also in Snow White? There was something about a poison hairpin in one of the fairy tales. Was it Snow White? Wait. Oh man, an old memory from a long, long time ago when I was a wee girl is coming back to me. In the original fairy tale, didn't the witch, like the stepmother, try to kill Snow White through various different poisoned things, and then it was the apple that got her in the end? I feel like a poison comb or something like that. It was like a comb slash hair ornament. But then, somebody took it out, and then she was fine. Oh, there was something else too, I think. Was it shoes? I can't remember. Oh gosh, man. That just hit me out of nowhere. Nostalgia's a weird thing. Okay, anyway. Poison hairpin. As soon as I arrived at the cafe, I suddenly collapsed on the spot.
You alright?
I'm okay. Thanks. But when I looked up, I saw Kaguya's expression freeze. Kaguya shrieking? What is a Kaguya shriek anyway?
Oh!
What's wrong?
Don't be alarmed, Poppet. Just stay still.
His face was as white as a sheet. What is it? Kaguya hardly ever lost his composure, so this was highly unusual. Yep. He stared at me intently, his trademark smile nowhere to be seen. And then, the next instant... Is that the butterfly? I caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye and bit back a scream. A giant moth was crawling around on my head. Aw, Kaguya, save me!
Nasty creature! Get away from my Poppet!
I took this as my cue to squeeze my eyes shut. Just hit me in the head, man. It's okay. I can take it. A few moments later...
It's all right now.
Kaguya reassured me gently. Did you get it? Slowly, I opened my eyes to find Kaguya looking back at me with a pained smile on his face. What happened to the moth?
Caught him and took him outside.
I don't believe you, but thank you. Oh, Kaguya! Unable to bear it, I threw my arms around him. I would too.
There. Scary, wasn't it? But it's all right now, love.
He wrapped his arms around me in a tight hug. I could tell he was scared too, but he still chose to protect me. Why on earth was there a moth on my head? Just then I realized. I hastily reached up and touched my hair.
What's wrong?
It's gone. Mother's butterfly hair ornament had vanished into thin air. Yeah, she's definitely trying to get rid of us. Definitely.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Show me what I want to see. Tell me what I want to hear. When I opened the door, the first thing I saw was a mountain of fanciful dresses. What's with all these dresses? I called out to my mother, but she had her back turned and she didn't respond. I had a bad feeling about this. Did she come in here and try them on? At my second question, my mother spun around with a smile. She sure did. But when I saw her head on, I was stunned. Her silver hair had turned raven black.
Oh, this is true. The real Snow White.
Skin as white as snow, red rosy cheeks, ebony hair. She was my own mother, yet she looked nothing like me. How? Why would I ask her that? Didn't I know this would happen? After all, the more time I spent with her, the more she would unlock my repressed memories until eventually we traded places.
Until we traded places. Interesting.
That fluffy hair and those sparkling gemstone eyes. She's the perfect doll. Yes, she's a bona fide princess. My mother spoke, entranced. Her soft, gentle voice never wavered. She was now fully restored to her former beauty. Oh, I hope she'll be back again. There are so many more dresses I'd like her to wear. More treats I'd like to make. And yet, why is it you're here? She looked at me coldly as her words pierced me like so many tiny icicles. Mother? Don't you call me that! Ugh. Her scream made me flinch. The kind woman who loved me was no more.
So this is what your real mother was like. Well, presumably. There's still the question of whether this is actually Yurika's mother, because Snow White's mother and Red's mother are very similar. And I feel like that's drawn off our experience with our real mother, maybe? Yeah.
I'm not your damn... Abruptly, she clutched her head. What's wrong? My head... it hurts. As she spoke, she crumpled to the floor. I ran over and pulled her into a hug. Mother! Mother, I'm sorry. Please, don't turn into someone else.
This route is wild, y'all. I just can't even. Snow White's mother had given me two things. An apple pie and a hair ornament. Both of these things looked perfectly ordinary at first glance, yet transformed into something malicious. Truth be told, something felt very, very wrong. I just can't put my finger on it. And frankly, I didn't know what to believe. Yeah. Sure, maybe the apple pie was an unfortunate mistake or a mean prank. Excuse me. But how could I possibly explain the ornament? I wasn't in the habit of putting moths on my head, and normally you'd think I would have noticed a moth of that size a lot sooner. Keyword, normally. But I didn't notice it at all until I came home and Kaguya pointed it out. Almost like it had been transfigured. Surely such a thing would be impossible unless it was magic or something. Magic. Miracles. Superpowers. Fairy tales. It all seemed so absurd, and I had plenty of other questions too. I thought of Snow White. Then I thought of his mother. For better or worse, both of them seemed to have taken an interest in me for whatever reason. And this recent string of events only started after I met Snow White. Could someone have lured me into a trap while I was none the wiser?
Arisu.
A familiar wispy voice called my name and I whirled around. Snow White stood behind me, his expression one of annoyance. Snow White! You came! Thank you so much!
Whatever. Not like I wanted to.
He averted his hard gaze, as if to suggest he wanted nothing more than to get away from me.
Why are you here?
He looked sincerely puzzled. But to me, that question made even less sense. What do you mean? Obviously, I'm here to see you.
You wanted to see me. How come? Didn't I hurt your feelings?
For a moment, I didn't realize what he was saying, but then it hit me. So you thought we weren't friends anymore?
What?
At last I understood. I had wondered what made him stop visiting the lake. And I had figured he didn't want to be around me anymore. After all, his last words to me were painfully harsh.
That apple pie you made was disgusting.
But I was mistaken. He stopped coming to the lake not because he hated me, but because he was afraid I hated him. Did you want me to hate you? He didn't answer. I looked at him and giggled. Sorry, but it'll take more than that to drive me away. So if you want to hurt me, you'll have to try harder. Mere words aren't enough. If you really want to hurt me, you'll have to do something worse.
So you wouldn't care if I hated you?
Are you kidding? I'd be devastated if you hated me. But if it meant I could heal you, then so be it. I'm stubborn like that.
Yeah, I know. Have you been waiting here ever since?
Of course. Achoo!
Are you cold?
Well, duh, silly. Hard not to get cold after sitting outside for hours in the wintertime. That said, no one was forcing me to do it, so I couldn't really complain. Just then, he took my hand. Huh? Aw. Hold on. I got to take a quick closer look at that. There we go. Thanks, man. Preesh.
Your hand's cold.
He cupped my hand in his and exhaled against it. It was so sudden I could scarcely process it. What was he doing? I was in full-on serious mode at the time, but this threw everything out the window.
Feel warmer now.
Do you feel warmer now? I don't think that's going to be quite enough, quite frankly. No, not at all! I shot back hastily. Suffice it to say, I was just that nervous. He exhaled against my fingers again in another attempt to warm them up. All at once, my body burned hot. Okay, that's enough, thank you! Snow White was holding my hand. He had to know this, and yet he wasn't letting go.
You shouldn't come see me anymore.
You mean at the lake, or...?
At the lake, or at my house.
Can I ask why?
You know the reason why. Getting involved with me will only make you miserable.
The way he spoke seemed to suggest he knew what had happened today. Was this a warning? Was this why he was trying so hard to avoid me? If so, then he was a truly kind person. I don't think that's true at all. Getting to know you has made me the happiest girl in the world.
You're happy?
Yeah! Tell me, Snow White, why did you come to the lake?
Well, obviously...
Because you wanted to meet me here?
You only ever see what you want to see, huh?
I call it being optimistic. You came here because you knew I'd be here, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. The truth is, I've wanted nothing more than to see you in person.
Well, I'm right here.
I know.
He let go of my hand and took a step back. Where are you going?
Home.
And with that, he turned on his heel and strode away. But after a few steps, he stopped short.
Does this world feel wrong to you?
Yeah. What? My heart nearly stopped. It felt like he'd read my mind. After all, I was struggling to process my current situation.
If you've lost your way, then allow me to give you a hint. It's something that doesn't make sense. Something anyone may possess, but the moment you obtain it, it ceases to exist.
Oh, I've heard this riddle before. Is it secret? It's a secret? Is that the answer to the question, to the riddle?
Anyone can have one, but when you open your eyes, it will vanish without a trace. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll find the answer. Right, Arisu?
I'll try, man. That night I lay in bed thinking about the riddle. Something anyone may possess, but the moment you obtain it, it ceases to exist. Anyone can have one, but when you open your eyes, it will vanish without a trace. What significance did this riddle hold? It wouldn't be hard to solve it, but it felt like there was more to it than just that. I decided to go over all the facts one more time. 1. Snow White presented me with a riddle. 2. Snow White lives in a mansion in the woods. 3. Snow White puked at the apple pie I made for him. 4. Snow White hates his appearance and really hates being treated like a girl. 5. Snow White doesn't want his mother to know about our friendship. 6. Snow White had a close male friend at one point in the past. Next, the facts about his mother. 1. Both gifts from Mother turned malicious when I brought them home. 2. Mother has always wanted to be a princess. 3. Mother likes me. When I listed it all out, it started to feel like Snow White's self-hatred and Mother's princess aspirations were connected somehow. But I still didn't fully understand their relationship. Were they on good terms, or... It's no use! I can't figure it out! I clutched my head in frustration. I needed more hints! Literally me, this rude girl. Literally me. It felt like I was playing a crossword puzzle or something. Crossword. Wordplay. Now that I thought about it, Snow White's riddles were a form of wordplay too. A riddle is a quiz in which clever wordplay is generally the answer. And if it was a quiz, then surely there had to be a correct answer. All I knew for sure, however, was that I'd need to keep in contact with both Snow White and his mother if I wanted to make any progress. But it wouldn't be enough to simply meet with them. I would need to take action somehow. I rolled over onto my side and my gaze wandered to the bookshelf. Books. Come to think of it, both Snow White and his mother loved to read.